Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm Darkjack, and in this video, I'm playing some Black Ops 2 in the map Raid, where I get 60 kills and do work with my lodestars. And in this video, what I want to talk about are the games you should play before you die, also known as my list of Jack-approved games. And I'm going to put a list of all of them in the description below. And in this video, I'm going to give a brief explanation of why you should play these games before you die, going one by one through the list quickly. So the first game on the list is Batman Arkham City. This is a great game. It's an open-world Batman game that combines action and stealth elements. Then the next game is Borderlands 1 and 2. Borderlands is a combination of a Diablo-style loot-based game that's cooperative with a first-person shooter. It is a very unique game, and this style of gameplay is going to be emulated in Destiny, which is Bungie's upcoming game. And I prefer to play Borderlands single-player rather than cooperative because it seems like the enemies do way too much damage in playing co-op. The next game is Bioshock Infinite, which is the first game in the list that uses the model of having a male main character with a female secondary character that you have to protect through the game, which is kind of, in my opinion, exploiting man's natural instinct to protect women and children, if you think about it that way. It's a wonderful story that is also beautiful, but also violent as well. Then you have the games in the Call of Duty series, Call of Duty 4, World at War, and Black Ops 1 and 2. Those are the best COD games in my opinion, and Call of Duty is a great franchise, not merely because of the single player, but because of the very addictive multiplayer that combines elements of a first-person shooter with the MMO ranking system. And this is my multiplayer game of choice right now, though in the future that is probably going to change, with Call of Duty Ghosts coming out. Then there's Crysis, which is a fantastic first-person shooter that was a groundbreaking game. Then there's Dark Souls 1 and 2, and Dark Souls is a very challenging game, but it's not as difficult as people make it out to be. It is more time-consuming than difficult, and I'm sure that Dark Souls 2 is going to be even more fun than Dark Souls 1. And I've put over 100 hours into this game. It's very rewarding because it is so challenging. And there's Demon Souls as well, which is also worth playing as the predecessor to Dark Souls on PS3. Then there's the Donkey Kong Trilogy on the SNES. These games are fantastic. I love playing these games. I could play these games right now and do a speed run of every one. Then there's Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, which is a pretty hilarious take on, it's kind of a parody of the first-person shooter genre that uses the Far Cry engine, and it's short, but it's very much worth your money. Then there's the Final Fantasy series, and I love Final Fantasy, and out of all of them, my favorite ones are 4, 5, 10, and 13. And 4 and 5 are using the Japanese ordering system, because in America they use a different numbering system for the games, which I thought that was pretty weird. And even though lots of people hate on Final Fantasy 13, I think it's one of the best in the series because of the beautiful graphics and great story. Then there's the God of War series, which I think is the best fighting game out there, and it's a mature fighting game that is difficult to play, which has a high skill gap. And it's simply not button mashing and quick time events. It also involves puzzles and epic boss battles. Then there's Gears of War 3, which I think is probably the best game in the Gears of War series. It's a lot of fun to play on 4-player co-op in the hardest difficulty, and I really enjoyed that when it first came out, as well as Beast Mode. Then there's Grand Theft Auto 5, which I have no doubt is going to be an amazing game. Just watch the trailers for it, and I have nothing else to say about that game. Just watch the trailers. Then there's Halo 3, which is an awesome game. I have over 7,000 XP, but Halo 3 is basically dead now, but back in the day it was awesome. Then there's Halo CE Anniversary Edition, which is a beautiful remastering of the first Halo game. And Halo 4 has a great Spec Ops mode, or Spartan Ops as they call it, and a great campaign, even though I personally found the multiplayer to be lacking. Then there's the Jak and Daxter series, which is a great series. I really love it. It's an awesome trilogy, and I'm looking forward to Jak 4. And Jak Combat Racing is also a great game, even though it's not currently available on current generation consoles. It's only available on PS2 and maybe PSP. Then there's LA Noire, which is an awesome detective game that combines elements of action, driving, and mystery detective work as well. And it's pretty fun as well. I really do enjoy asking people questions and nailing them when they ask you, can you prove it? And it's a pretty satisfying game. Then there's Max Payne 3, which is an ultra-realistic and violent game. And even though it's linear, it does tell an awesome story with great voice acting. Then there's Ni no Kuni, which I think is one of the best JRPGs out there, with absolutely beautiful graphics by Studio Ghibli. And Red Dead Redemption, and anything that Rockstar makes is truly golden. And Runner 2, I think, is the best platforming game out there. It's a very rewarding game that is also challenging, but yet at the same time accessible for new players because of the easy difficulty. Then there's Skyrim, which is an amazing game. I don't think I need to say anything else about it, with all the quests in it. And Super Mario World and Super Mario 64, in my opinion, were the best Mario games. The platforming in those games is amazing, and I really enjoyed playing them as a kid. Then there's The Last of Us, which is an epically long game, and I think it's Naughty Dog's best game yet. It is a very long game that combines elements of stealth action, and it tells an amazing story. And it's an incredibly violent game as well. It's not for the faint of heart. And Trine 2 is a beautiful platforming game that combines elements from the medieval fantasy series, and I think it's a beautiful game. And the graphics of the game overall are fantastic, and that alone is worth spending time playing it. And Uncharted 2 and 3 are amazing games. They combine elements of platforming along with action combat from a third-person perspective, and whatever Naughty Dog makes is gold, and Uncharted 3 is a really beautiful game. And I'm not including Uncharted 1 in this list because Uncharted 2 is a huge leap over 1. Then there's Unreal Tournament 2004, which is, I think, probably the best arena shooter out there for PC. Even though the multiplayer population is dead, it's still a lot of fun to play against bots. Then there's The Witcher 2, which is an amazing game, probably one of the best RPGs I've ever played in my entire life, with amazing voice acting and graphics, and I'm sure The Witcher 3 is going to be an amazing game. And lastly, there's Zelda: The Ocarina of Time, which really brought about the open world RPG genre. It pretty much created it, and I would really love to see an HD remastering of this game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, and I'll see you guys later.